The art of silence has been lost in our busy world, where noise is everywhere, and talk are always there. But what if the times we choose not to talk were, how often do we stop and think about what Stoicism is an old idea that teaches people how to be calm? To keep them in check, they need to use logic and emotional power. Zeno, the father of Stoicism, said it's better to trip with someone than alone, the feet than with the tongue. This saying makes me wonder, how many times have we? When you say something in a hurry or because you're mad, Stoicism doesn't make you feel better. Just don't do anything. We owe it to ourselves to use silence as a tool. For peace and growth, picture meeting the challenges of life with the calm confidence that your being stoic means that silence says louder than any words could ever hope to. Shows us that silence isn't just not speaking, it's also a carefully chosen reaction that comes from the heart. There is a plan in place to help settle differences and keep people safe. We're safe and help us understand. But when should we really be quiet? We'll learn together 9 times that picking silence is not only smart, but it can also change your life. Learn more about these lessons and think about how practicing Stoic silence might help you. Could you change how you deal with other people and your own peace of mind? Instead of using strong words to end a fight, can you keep quiet for a while? Let's take a moment to think about how you feel and what you want to say. Let's remember the good old days when we had to be strong and not say anything. Are you ready to learn more about the deep knowledge of Stoicism? Please leave a message before you begin your trip. Number 1. When someone is criticizing you unfairly. Being unfairly criticized, according to the Stoic thought, is an act of a unique chance to get better and show that these are the main ideas behind Marcus Aurelius the king, once said that if something old, someone, or something outside of you bothers you, it's not the thing itself that hurts you, but how you think about it. He also said that no matter what, you can change the way you think about something. It's not the criticism itself that worries us, but how we see and react to it. Before you answer, think about this. How might changing the way you think about feedback make you better, more powerful? Can you think of a time when staying calm in the face of unfair criticism made a difference? For instance, if you are in charge of a job at work and your boss gives it harsh criticism, to be stoic, you would have to calmly look at the comments and learn something from it. Epictetus said that he would ignore any bad news that isn't based on facts. If you think that this will not only keep the peace but also protect your professional honor, don't say anything. About your idea, live it here to live by, you have to say something like, you should respond with cool, well-thought-out answers instead of defensive ones. The answers you give, and finally, your work speak for themselves. Responding to unfair criticism isn't just a passive thing to do, it's also a smart thing to do. One, to follow Stoicism's advice to think about what we can control about our reactions, and with this quiet strength, you can turn a possible disagreement into a sign of you need to have personal strength and intellectual commitment as you face life. It can help to think about how silence can help you, and what chances might open up if you choose quiet thought over speaking without thinking. How might this practice help you? Following Stoic principles will not only help you feel better, but it will also have an effect on those around you. Into our daily lives, particularly when someone criticizes us without cause, we align. We have a mindset that puts character strength above the temporary approval of others, encourages growth, and encourages others to do the same. Especially in these days, bragging and self-promotion often drown out humility. Stoicism says we should be quiet, but Marcus Aurelius, who was very smart, says we shouldn't. Do not waste time fighting about what a good man should be like. Instead, think about a man like this. About how being quiet in answer to brags can turn a potentially ego-fueled environment into a place where you can think about yourself and grow. There will always be feedback in life, and it can help you. Criticism can help you learn and get better, but it's not always fair. It can be hard to stay cool and act in these situations where someone is meant to be hurt. Stoicism is an idea that dates back to ancient Greece and has stood the test of time. You can learn how to deal with rude feedback with class and grace by reading Stoic. We can use bad things that happen to us as chances to grow as people. Hey, it doesn't matter what happens to you, as long as you handle it well. How to deal with it. This is the Stoic concept. What happened? Take a moment to think about what you'll say next. Is harsh on you. This stops you from acting without thinking, and it give people time to think about what's going on without getting angry. Stop criticizing. As the Stoics said, you only have power over your mind and not over outside events. If you do this, Marcus Aurelius, you will be strong. Know that this is unfair feedback. Only shows how the writer feels or what they think, not how good you are. As the Stoics said, you can see the attack more clearly if you separate it from who you are. I want to know the truth, so if someone can show me that what I think and do is wrong, I will happily change it. Aurelius, do this. Even the most unfair opinion might have some truth to it. It's possible that unfair feedback hides helpful feedback. Use this as a chance to get better and get rid of the A. As the saying goes, first think of negative thoughts that aren't important. Pay attention to what you say, and then tell the story of what happened when, if someone says something mean about you, keep your cool and be polite. This not only shows you feel strong and in charge, and it keeps things from getting worse. A cool answer will usually make the reviewer feel better and show that you are an adult. Don't waste time fighting about what a good man is. Focus on your own growth. Should be, says the Stoic. Be one, said Marcus Aurelius. Stop focusing on what's not fair. Don't worry about criticism. Instead, focus on your goals and making yourself better. Just keep your mind on your own growth and you'll be able to handle the bad things that happen. It can be hard to deal with unfair criticism, but Stoic traits can help you. By following these rules, you can turn these situations into chances to learn and get better. Remember to take a moment to think about how the feedback is different from your own. Worth it to look for a piece of truth. Keep your cool, respect others, and answer the truth. You focus on your own improvement. You live up to the Stoic ideal, how to stay strong and calm inside even when things are bad. Outside number 2. Number 2, Stoic silence in the middle of bragging. Stiff silence in the middle of boasts. Let's say you're at a networking event, and a coworker is also talking. Lots of talk about their new raises and fancy lifestyle. You might want to counter their bluster with your own. Stoicism shows us the power of self-control. If you choose to be quiet, you stay quiet. Keep your cool and let other people's words show you who they are. Save your energy for more in-depth conversations. This way not only keeps your honor safe, but it also makes you look like someone who is proud of their own accomplishments and doesn't need anyone else to tell them how great they are. It is thought that quiet is not a sign of passivity, but of agreement, of strategic calm that shows you know what you're doing and are sure of yourself, says another wise Stoic. If someone doesn't want to be outnumbered by bigger benefits, he shouldn't return one benefit for another. Instead, he should return many at once. In real life, this means you shouldn't answer empty, someone who brags with words, but how often do you find someone who does the right thing and has good character? You reacting to someone else's success story with your own? What would happen if you did that instead? Decide to pay full attention, nod or smile to show appreciation for what they've done, and keep your attention on Stoic silence in the middle of boasts is a sign of your own values and goals. Way to live a life that isn't based on competition, but on inner peace and happiness. Success makes an environment where people can thrive happily and successfully based on their own true self-worth. Value rather than comparisons. Please remember this lesson and use. From what you've learned every day, how could being quiet make your life better? And relationships better? Please share your thoughts and stories in the Let's Work Together to make each other happier and more peaceful. Number 3, how to deal with anger. Third good way to deal with anger. When we're mad, it can feel. The Stoic philosophy says that life is like a wild storm that can wash away all reason and quiet. But in the middle of this storm, a safe place to be, a moment of silence that helps us handle these tough situations. A famous Stoic person named Epictetus said to keep quiet most of the time and just talk when you have to. Now picture a day at work. When a co-worker's mistake, if someone gives you hours of extra work, your first reaction might be to lash out in, but what would happen if you were angry but chose to be quiet instead? You give yourself time to better understand what's going on. This break can help you avoid the from getting worse and lead to good solutions instead of angry arguments. Think about it. What a Stoic scholar would think about it. Would they think it was unimportant or important to pay attention to, instead of focusing on the problem, come up with useful ways to deal with it? This will help you become emotionally stronger. To keep yourself in check, remind yourself that you can pick how to respond. Self-control and care for your feelings. Detachment. Learn to keep your emotions out of what's going on. Take a step back and look at it without taking it personally. Do things that help you deal with your feelings, like working out, to feel better on the inside. Write in a book or meditate to deal with your anger in a healthy way. Your energy should be used for something else instead of being angry. Whether you like to work out or make art, it will help you learn and grow. Chance to find out more about yourself and change how you act in the future. Learn how to talk about how you feel in a cool, and managing your anger well means being sure of yourself without being rude or angry. Your health and the health of your relationships depend on it. You can turn your anger into a good force by bottom line, being aware, shifting your point of view, and building follow the suggestions of to keep your mind strong and find healthy ways to deal with your anger, to live a healthy, happy life and find inner peace. Number 4, staying quiet when rumors are swirling around. When people talk to each other, there is silence in the heart of false rumors. Misinformation spreads quickly like leaves caught in the wind, and it can hurt people and make things more difficult. Philosophy gives us a strong answer. To see this, think about the story of a teacher in a small town was wrongly accused of misconduct as stories spread. Group, the teacher didn't add to the tension by denying or explaining rather than what happened. She stood strong on her honesty and integrity. This silence is not a passive way to give up. It is a wise choice. Marcus Aurelius said that you can only control your thoughts and not what happens in the outside world. You will be strong if you understand this. How many times have we seen hasty words make things worse? If you refuse to say anything about the claims, silence will protect you. The teacher let the community's joy fade over time, and since no new evidence came to light, she used the truth as her case. This shows how strong she was. Opinion that you should worry less about how things will turn out and more about what you can control, like your reactions and actions. Epictetus once said that if stories get around, you can't stop them. When someone says something bad about you, you should always say something nice back. The counterintuitive way says that responding to negativity with positivity, or in this case, silence, can stop and change the way you talk to people when they aren't helpful when false charges are made. Silence can show respect, and you can use this to your advantage, and you should think about how important it is to wait to answer questions until when the storm is over. Know that the best way to keep your cool and save face is to, as you preach. And don't fight every whisper in these kinds of. Not only is staying quiet a way to protect yourself, it's also a way to show that you follow the quiet way of life while you deal with when you're having trouble with personal or business relationships. Let Stoic silence help you get through it. False claims that it holds the key to a peaceful, happy, and successful life. Number 5. How to handle loss. 5. How to deal with loss. How do you handle the complete silence that after a major loss? Loss is a normal part of life that often leaves a void full of sadness and confusion, but Stoicism has a special way of dealing with it with pain, like the famous author C.S. Lewis, who wrote about his sadness after he writes in the book A Grief Observed that the pain he feels now is that was a very serious way to think about my happiness. Stoics think that what happens to us is just a part of life's bigger flow, and that love and loss will always go together, said a great Stoic. Philosopher has a lot to say about this topic. The day we worry will be our last is actually the birthday of how might your response to loss change if you think of it as a shift instead of an end? What could you get by being okay with the silence that follows? Loss by giving yourself time to think and get better after he died, Lewis. He didn't try to fill the silence with answers or other things to do. Instead, he used it to deeply look into his feelings and thoughts to show the Stoic belief that hard times can help you grow as a person. His journey through loss showed how keeping being calm can help someone deal with a lot of mental pain and turn it into a deep knowledge of how fragile life is and how beautiful it is. Being quiet after a loss it's a way to avoid facing or denying what happened. It's a break to calm down and think. Get over the pain you're feeling right now and move on. This means giving your thoughts a chance to run their course without ending things quickly. Think about what ways have you dealt with loss in the past, and how might the Stoic practice of thoughtful silence help you in the future? During times of sadness, how might this method affect not only your own recovery, but also please share your ideas and experiences with loss, as well as how you think those around you can heal. Stoic ideas may have had an effect on your life. What lessons have you learned? How has being quiet helped you get better? Let's talk about it and get better. People have said that dealing with death is one of the hardest things in life. It's hard to deal with sadness. When you lose something important in your life, like a loved one, a job, or a big chance, it's sad. Theory that began with Zeno of Citium in Athens gives us timeless tips on how to handle these tough times. By being silent can help us stay strong and calm, even when we've lost a lot. To understand and accept how you feel, it's important to be aware of it. Let yourself feel the way you do when you lose someone. Stoicism teaches us that feelings are normal responses to things that happen in your life. You can let yourself cry and feel the pain. Writing in a book or calling a friend you trust without judging yourself. Pay attention to what you can change to help you get through these feelings. Some people believe that we should let go of things we can't change and focus on things we can. Make a list of things you can change, like how you handle things. Deal with the loss and let go of the things you can't change. See the loss as a chance to. As was said, Stoics believe that every problem can be turned into a chance to get stronger and grow. Think about what you can learn. What can you learn from this loss that will make you smarter or show more kindness by being thankful? Being thankful can help you stop thinking. Don't think about what you've lost. Instead, think about what you still have. Every day, make a list of the things you're grateful for. This can help you, give you a fresh look at things and help you calm down. Get help and join a group today. Speaks about how important it is to be part of a group and help each other through tough times. It can help to talk about your problems with friends or support groups. It's never easy to deal with loss, but the Stoic ideas can help us be strong and tough when things get tough. It can help to be aware of our thoughts and focus on what we can do. Take charge, change your mind, be thankful, and ask for. If we use these methods, they can help us get better and heal. Number 6, getting through ignorance with Stoic grace. 6, dealing with ignorance with calm grace. Have you ever met someone who's The way they act shows that they don't understand, but their opinion is as strong as if they were an expert, even though, when things are bad, it's a good time to work on being Galileo, the great scientist who pushed heliocentrism during a time of strong geocentrism, was kind to grace. Being aware of your views is a great way to deal with ignorance, even though he had to. They fought hard against Galileo and even put him under house arrest. But he kept his honor. Commitment to telling the truth, they often choose to remain quiet when they are accused of something they didn't do. Stoicism tells us that we can only choose how to react, not what to do. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, told you control your thoughts, not what happens in the outside world. Realizing this will help you. This is something you might want to think about the next time you see someone who is. If you knew you could change how you react to bad thoughts, how could you? Galileo's lack of speech wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a strong case of, because he was honest and sure of what he knew that the truth doesn't have to be backed up by words, but it can hold up over time on its own. This way of thinking is like the Stoic idea of focusing on what you're doing, and being gracious means recognizing that you can't change other people's views. Knowing your limits means being careful about which fights you take, means having patience and understanding, even when things are annoying. This habit not only leads peace and happiness in your life, and it also helps you see things in a way that is long-term. Instead of short-term glory, think about how silence can lead to respect and success. Be a classy response to stupidity in your own life. How might this work? Think about how Galileo's story can help you improve your health and relationships. To practice Stoic silence and turn events that could be happy into chances. How to handle rumors is the 7th tip. For peace of mind and growth number 7, how to handle lies. You must have been the subject of many stories in your life. You could hear whispers getting louder, as it's normal for people to act that way. But staying quiet can change things. The situation. Think about the story of a leader in the community who worked hard to, instead of saving the environment, she fed false rumors about how she could use them to make money. Instead of responding to each rumor, she kept her mind on her work by thinking what Marcus Aurelius said. The best revenge is to unlike the person who hurt you. This leader's choice to keep quiet and keep advocating for her cause should be respected. What she does says more than any gossip. It shows that she is a strong person. Idea. What bothers us is not what happens outside of us, but how we respond to it. How would your life be different if you ignored stories and kept quiet? How strong would you be if you chose not to explain, but to, if someone says bad things about you, stay on your road? It's epic. Epictetus tells us to fix ourselves if it's a lie. This wise leader not only kept the peace, but she also told those who didn't believe the lies to laugh at them. In her slowly dying faith, but her calm demeanor and steadfast dedication showed that being quiet can help you. Stay true to yourself and your image. This story shows how Stoicism can be used in modern life this shows how our responses to false information can either make things worse or make them better. The fact that you put it out there also shows that quiet is not a passive choice. A strong way to let our actions and outcomes show what kind of person we are. Next time you hear rumors, think about this method. How can practicing Stoic silence help you? That will help you stay cool and on task. How might that change how other people see you over? This time, I'd like you to share your thoughts and experiences with how to deal with rumors in what have you learned from these events, and how has it changed your life? They were easier to deal with in silence. Your thoughts might help someone else find their way. You can lose your reputation quickly, which can cause a lot of stress and make. There are many ways to deal with gossip, but here are a few that work well. Even though information flows quickly in this world, Stoic wisdom has stood the test of time. That tells us how to stay calm, organized, and sensible when we have problems. Keep your thoughts in check. It's important to do this. When you hear stories and respond quickly or strongly, it can make giving the stories more weight will only make things worse. Instead, try to keep your feelings in check, and look at the problem without any bias. Take a moment to think before you answer. Take a few deep breaths and tell yourself that what other people think doesn't define your worth. Do something to calm down, like mindfulness or meditation to keep calm, get things straight, and find out what's going on. Clear-cut ideas and facts are often the source of stories. Don't believe them. Take things at face value instead. Look into the facts. Get information from reliable sources. To get the right information about what the story is really about, talk to trustworthy people who can, before making a choice, give you more knowledge, ask questions, and look for. There's proof that this method helps you act on facts instead of guesses. You should think about how you respond to a story before you act on it. It is true that if you act without thinking, you might get something wrong. Tell even more people about the story. Instead, be careful and have a plan. When you hear the story, keep your cool and think about what could happen if you do something different. Correct way, if you need to be quiet or speak slowly, is sometimes the best thing to do. How you act and behave. The best way to fight back against false reports is to show that if you're honest with people, you can stop the "you're a good person over time" accounts. Be true to your views and ideas in everything you do. This will show what kind of person you are. If you keep acting the same way, it will show who you really are. It is less likely that fake stories are true if you don't care what some people believe that Stoicism means letting go of things you can't change. Pay attention to what you can. The second group has other people's ideas. Remember that you can't change what people think or say about you. Pay attention to what you do and how you think. Believe in yourself and accept yourself. No matter what other people say, stern ideas like controlling how you feel, finding the truth, reacting wisely, staying steady and not. If you care about what other people think, you can deal with rumors in a fair and smart way. By following these tips, you can deal with the issues that stories bring up with calm and strength. Number 8. When there is unfairness. Number 8. Respect and peace of mind. Stoic philosophy teaches us what to do when we see injustice. Fairness and inner strength will help you deal with life's issues. When things aren't fair, as the wise Epicurean said, bear. And this saying tells us to not complain when things are hard and to forgive others for their. While Nelson Mandela was in South Africa, he fought racism in a way that it's very clear that Mandela's long time in jail may have made him. He was angry, but he came out as a supporter of peace and togetherness, which showed how tough he was. Strength. Mandela didn't just stand there and let injustice happen. He made a choice to work on healing and unity instead of getting back at people. This choice shows a Stoic principle. The most powerful thing we have is the choice of how to respond to how would our own lives be different if we did what Mandela did. Can we choose to show when wrong things happen to us, having patience and kindness, even when it seems impossible, by being quiet when there are times when wrong things happen? In his writings, Marcus Aurelius said that the best if someone has hurt you, the best way to get back at them is to not be like them and fight instead. As Mandela worked to heal and look to the future, he changed the way a whole. His life shows us that quiet is not instead of a sign of weakness, it can be a strong force for change, and a sign of Stoic thinking doesn't mean passively taking things as they are. Instead of injustice, it involves a deliberate and moral silence that gets us ready to do something good. It's about keeping your peace and keep things calm to help people come up with thoughtful ideas that fix problems and build As a group, we can make the future better as we face both small and big problems. In times of unfairness, let us remember Mandela's quiet strength. His life and work teach us a lot. That sometimes the deepest reaction can only be grown in silence, which helps us lay the groundwork for this can lead to meaningful change and a better, more successful life change, both individual suffering and community strife, leading to a more everyone has to deal with unfair events at some point in their lives. As a Stoic, it's important to stay calm in these situations. Know what Stoic minds like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus had to say. Can help you figure out how to handle unfair situations by the way we can keep their cool and act in a sensible way are some of the things they tell you to keep your peace inside and pay attention to your inner state. Marcus Aurelius says that you should keep your cool no matter what is going on around you for mental control. To keep your feelings in check, do things like take deep breaths and be aware. Accept the things you can't change and know that you can only change how you act. Respond sensibly to what other people do, but think about what you want to do before you do it. You should stop and think about what the best thing to do is before you move. This can help. Try to understand and figure out why the unpleasant thing took place. Clear things up and maybe even show how to fix the issue. Don't get back at people. It only makes things worse to get back at people out of anger or revenge. Instead, try to talk back in a calm and fair way. Think about your values and always stick to them. No matter what, stick to your values and let your actions be based on what you believe. Be honest and decent in your answer. Make sure it fits with your stands by your honor and morals. Set a good example for others to follow. Unfairness with honor and respect by the way you act. Look for ways to make things better. Answers that solve problems. Don't dwell on the problem. Instead, go into the position with the goal of figuring out how to handle it. Conversation talk to try to find a fair answer with all the people involved in an open and honest way. Push for change whenever you can, and try to make the system work better. To the bottom of the unfair learn and grow what happened. Think about what went on and what you can learn from it. Growth see the experience as a chance to become a better person and get ready for the future. Getting ready to get the skills and knowledge you need to deal with similar situations better in the future. It is important to keep your cool. Think things through, stay true to your ideal, look for helpful solutions, and learn. From what you'll learn when you're faced with injustice if you follow these calm rules. Rules that will help you deal with unfair situations in a fair and honest way, turning them into chances to learn and get better. Number 9. There are 9 ways to deal with insults in a Stoic way. Stoic wisdom can help you deal with insults. Epictetus, a Stoic scholar, once said that if someone is able to provoke you, you should know that your mind is involved. This maxim should wake us up every time someone insults us, and it does. Tells us to be quiet and gives us a deep way to deal with insults. That we can pick how to respond by picking peace and quiet instead of fighting Mahatma Gandhi, for he was insulted and pushed back against in his fight for Indian freedom, but he didn't get angry or insult back. He decided to stay quiet instead, knowing that Gandhi believed in a higher power. Stoicism and nonviolence are both ways of living that are happy. When Gandhi was attacked verbally or physically, he told people to be quiet. He often made his enemies less dangerous and won support for his cause from the people. How might taking the same stance help you? When you are insulted, change how you interact with other people. What could you win by staying the same? If you keep your cool instead of angry when someone strikes you, you give yourself time to act with purpose. The stern method not only keeps you calm, but it also makes you less likely to act without thinking. That makes you look like a boss who is better than everyone else. I agreed with Marcus Aurelius that anger and sadness are much worse than the things that made us feel that way. Think about this as you deal with the everyday there are problems. Just imagine what this stern silence could do. For your life? Could it be the key to a better, more successful life? As we looked at the 9 crucial times to embrace, remember that what you do affects how other people handle their issues. In the end, being quiet has helped us deal with everything from talking to death. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't spend time arguing about what a good man should be like. Let us follow his words and do the. There is a lot of strength in silence when you choose when to speak and when to listen. This will help us live a calm, happy, and kind life." To put these Stoic ideas into practice in your daily conversations and see how the power of quiet thought can change things. If you thought this talk was deep and helpful, please click the like button. Press the note button and write down your thoughts. Don't forget to tell everyone you know about these wise words. Let us know if you're new and want to get more deep lessons in Stoicism that will help you grow. In the next lessons,